E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinwa, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you right now, we are so excited about this new fall programming, the excitement that others are getting from it, the opportunity for folks to be subject matter experts, because every Monday we talk about making a difference in business. And this is aimed at the entrepreneurs. And on that particular day, we will have information for the entrepreneurs, the solopreneurs, people who work out of their homes and things of this nature. And also we will bring in subject matter experts on specific topics. And I forgot to mention yesterday, let me mention it today before I forget. If you'd like to give a shout out to someone, please just send us an email to our email address here, inspiration@e360tv.com. And we'll be glad to give the shout out to the individual. We'll do it early on in the show. We will let you know when. And therefore, you can tell your friend, hey, I gave a shout out on a TV program that broadcast on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, everything from a cell phone to a big screen TV. And it's just amazing just what app that they want to watch us on, you know. But Mondays is making a difference in business. And Tuesdays, of course, we've got Finding Health Naturally. Our guest today is still trying to get in. Analyn Scott and her husband, Raymond, they're going to be sharing their story today about Raymond's struggle with kidney failure. And they've got some great information. I've known these folks for a couple years, maybe 3, I don't remember now, but quite a while. And Analyn and Raymond are fantastic people. Wednesdays we're very excited about. We're going to be having, it's twofold. We're going to have young entrepreneurs coming on from time to time who created a business, or they saw a cause, or they started a nonprofit, something to make their world a better place. Also, too, on that Wednesday, this is an open door for mentors to come in and share how they have inspired our youth. Because around the world, ladies and gentlemen, our youth need good, positive role models. Let's face it. We've got enough doom and gloom and ugliness being vomited all over society. And we definitely need some folks, some people out there to be good, strong mentors. And of course, Thursday, oh my goodness gracious. Oh, tomorrow, let me back up. We're going to have the same lady with us that we had on last Thursday show, The Pets We Love, Mama Mo Kalowski. Her and her husband, Matt, they raise these red pit bull terrier pups. They're just gorgeous dogs. And a lot of people, pit bulls, they have a negative rap, but a lot of people, especially us baby boomers, we remember the old show, The Little Rascals. And guess what kind of a dog Petey was? Remember, Petey was Spanky's dog, and he was white and had that ring around the right eye, I think it was. Petey was an American pit bull terrier. So it just depends on how you bring them up. But anyway, she's going to be with us tomorrow, and she's going to be sharing some of the things that she's done and people that she works with in helping youth, and share some ideas there, because we really need to get a movement going here for the young people and be able to help them, get focused on the positive things in life. Also on Friday, we're talking about women in leadership. And this is a great program that's got a lot of ladies excited, because this is an opportunity for women to come forward and say, this is how I've been a leader for younger people, male and female, it makes no difference. And so that's what the buzz is all about here, and we're very excited about it. And I'm still waiting for Analyn and Raymond to join us here. They're looking for the link and that sort of thing, and send it to them. So, but in the meantime, let's talk about some fun things here on the 4th of this month. Today is National Cinnamon Roll Day. Oh my goodness. I know. You're not supposed to eat all these wonderful things, but geez, yeah, they're good. They really are. National Cinnamon Roll Day. Also, today is another favorite food of mine, the National Taco Day. Oh, goodness. And I don't know if, well, I don't drink this anyway, but also today is National Vodka Day. But Taco Tuesdays, oh my goodness. I'm going to slide down here a little bit. And today is a very important day. This is the day they recognize Kindness to Animal Day. That should be something we should do every single day of the week and be just plumb proud to do it. And, as I drive on here a little bit, National Fruit at Work Day, National Golf Lovers Day. I love golf, play it from time to time. Hadn't played it in a while, but I love the game. This is also National Truckers Appreciation Day. And I tell you what, there's not one thing that you can look at, point to, or name in your house that a truck did not bring it and deliver it. So we want to salute all the truckers and, around the world, not just here in the United States, but around the world, because it's very, very important. And today is also a very important day. It's Dyslexia Day. And this is the time that we recognize, dyslexia. And it's just amazing to me of all the famous people that suffer from dyslexia. And about a year ago, we had a week we did on homeschooling. This was about the same time. In fact, it was the same time when the parents and the school boards were, going at each other like Hatfields and McCoys. But we decided to take the positive approach to it. And we chose to do homeschooling, the benefits of it. And one of the gentlemen we brought on was a gentleman by the name of Howard Berg. He's recorded in the Guinness's Book of Record. And I forget how many thousands of words a minute he could read, but it's in the thousands. Amazing. In a minute. I think it was 25,000. And he gave some great tips about teaching kids how to read, and especially kids that have, let's just say that reading doesn't come naturally to them. And he gave some great tips on start your kids out in bite-sized times, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Don't give them a whole chapter to read. Just give them a little time, a little bit each time, and start them out on some fun things that they enjoy reading. And then ask them questions on, what did they tell me what you read there, and just start sharing. But also too, with children, it's been proven with positive reinforcement. That's just something that they can, it's there, but it's not going to handicap them or anything like that, because there's a lot of famous people in society who have suffered from dyslexia. My goodness. The list goes on and on. Who do I start with and who do I stop with? I mean, Stephen Cannell is one of the people that I like. He's no longer with us, but he was a writer and TV producer and all that. And he did the A-Team, the Rockford Files, The Greatest American Hero, 21 Jump Street, The Comish, the Shane Scully mysteries. I mean, he just really did a lot. And even though he was dyslexic, he never allowed it to handicap him or prevent him from, going and growing and that sort of thing, and being able to do what he wanted to do. And also too, when it comes to famous people suffering from dyslexia, Patrick Dempsey, Danny Glover, Whoopi Goldberg, Tracy Gold. I mean, goodness, Cher, the actress Cher, Jennifer Aniston. I mean, Thomas Edison, okay, he suffered from it. And, goodness, I mean, the list just goes on and on. A lot of great people in history, they suffered from dyslexia. They really did. They had it. Uh, Lara Finn Bowl had it. Richard Branson. Okay. So therefore, you can give them a lot of positive reinforcement that look at all these folks here who have dyslexia and how they've overcome it and how they have actually rose above and beyond, to the next level. And I'm still waiting uh, for Analyn and them to join me. I'm seeing I'm just going to ask them if they got any problems or not. But I want to share some things about the kidney disease. I did not know until I heard Analyn Scott talk out there in Phoenix. We were out there on an event in Phoenix, and she was invited to speak on our stage. And 1 in 9 people suffer from kidney disease. And I don't want to see here. Nope, all good. Can you see us in the studio? No. I think they're in the wrong link. I don't see them in the studio at all. But anyway, there they are. There she is. She was saying, do you see us in the studio? And I'm going, no. Let me see if I can do this a little bit better here. No, that didn't work out right. No. I'm not real good at pushing buttons.
Then we share that in common then.
Yeah. How you doing, Raymond?
Great. How are you?
Doing fine. We're so glad to have you folks on the show today. I was just telling the folks out there in TV land, the first time I met Analyn, and Analyn, welcome to the show. And we're going to give you a lot of screen time today. But I heard her speak at our event in Phoenix. We had a small event, and she gets on stage and she starts sharing her story. And I'm going to have her share her story because even though I'm a good storyteller, I'm not that good of a storyteller. Okay. But her story and her love for Raymond and her commitment, oh my goodness, it just blew everybody away. And so with that, what I'm going to do, since there's 2 of them there, I'm going to remove myself from the stage to give them full access. And I'm just going to turn the stage over to you and just introduce yourself, and Analyn, tell your story.
All right. Well, Jim, thank you again for having us. And it's not just my love for Raymond. It's my I will say his first term of endearment for me is Babe, but the second one is Bulldog. And I'm definitely his Bulldog. I wear that with pride, but it's also my love for people is why we're here. So in fact, we'll dive into the story a little bit so it'll make sense, but we literally just completed doing Raymond's home hemodialysis before hopping on here. And so it's really, I will say, our love and dedication to helping others, because we want to help others. We want to bring awareness and help others avoid a journey like what Raymond has had. Our journey started nearly 25 years ago. This coming February will be 25 years that we were only dating for about 3 months, and out of the blue, his kidneys failed due to high blood pressure. And at that time, he knew he had high blood pressure, but had no idea that diabetes and high blood pressure are the 2 leading causes of kidney disease now. And so it was something at that time, neither of us were familiar with kidney disease. Didn't know, here he's learning at the age of 29 and I'm 23. He's hearing your kidneys have failed and you're going to have to start dialysis. And he's saying, what's dialysis? What does all of this mean? And so for the past nearly 25 years, we have just continued to, kind of link arms and put one foot in front of the other with whatever he was facing. and it's definitely been a lot. Like I said, we just got done with his home hemodialysis, which we've been doing for the nearly 10 years. And I think it's kind of important maybe just to start, because we didn't know too much, but maybe dive in a little bit on the importance of why we're here, the importance of knowing the health of
Mhm.
kidneys. And so, Jim, I don't know if you want to chime in with anything.
Yeah, I want to back up here a little bit because when Raymond found out the bad news, he figured you would be gone like, jumping Jack Flash. And I want you to share that story because this is just it's a great story, ladies and gentlemen. It really is.
Oh yes, and I can help her with this, Jim, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure,
Um,
sure.
I just thought to myself in this hospital, I'm 29 years old and she's 22,
I was 23.
23
Mhm.
years old.
Mhm.
And this is a heavy burden to lay on her. And I don't think it'll be fair for me to do that.
Mhm.
So I put in my mind that when she came to pick me up from the hospital when I was going home.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, she is just I told her, you're just too young for this.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and go back home because I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina,
Mhm.
and take this on myself because this is too much for someone as young as yourself. And her
Mhm.
response was,
You're not going anywhere. You're a good man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave you because of this. Let's see where our
Mhm.
relationship goes.
and I have to say, that intestinal fortitude that she showed me that day is
Mhm.
what I live by. I
Mhm.
have to do better. I have to be better. I
Yeah.
have to do things because she showed me that she was willing to stick with me and
Mhm.
sacrifice so much. And it has been a sacrifice for her,
Mhm.
both she
Yeah.
and the kids. So I went from there to, okay, I have to be different.
Mhm.
I can't be like the others.
Mhm.
And I won't be a statistic. That's why I refer to myself, or we refer to me as a warrior. I'm not a patient. I'm not
Mhm.
a victim. I'm not a statistic.
Mhm.
I am a warrior. And
Mhm.
that's how I was going to go about treating this disease.
I hear you. I admire that. I really do because, it's just like I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary of when I had my heart attack, and someone was saying, "Hey, Jim, what are you going to do for your heart anniversary?" I said, "My what?
Mm.
Your heart anniversary?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" Well, and I thought I'm not going to do anything. I may have a extra cup of coffee or something, but I found out something interesting. If I may share this, ladies and gentlemen. I spoke to my sister-in-law. My brother is older than I am, and he's in a home now. He suffers from Alzheimer's, and we're slowly losing him. But it was back in 2010. He had a heart attack. He also had the widowmaker. He
Mm.
had to have 2 bypasses. And I got 4, so I beat him there. One of those brother things. But what really shocked me was that both of us had our heart attacks on Halloween.
Oh,
I
wow.
find I find humor in that because I tell people I thought it was kind of funny. I had a heart attack at midnight on Halloween. I find humor in that, and I really do. And I also tell people I'm very, very grateful that I had the heart attack. I'm very thankful I had surgery. I'm very grateful I had 4 bypasses because I did not know I had the widowmaker.
Mm.
The widowmaker is a silent killer. 70% of the people who wind up in an ER with a heart condition, however, were just like me. Blood pressure was good, cholesterol levels was good. My bad cholesterol was 76 in 2019 when I was 72, I guess, 71, something like that. And then in 73, in the hospital last year at age 73, it was only 96. So on the medical standard, I'm good to go. But yet here I am in the hospital with a heart attack. And 70% of the people are just like me because the widowmaker is the heart attack. If it's brought on, you got about a 15% chance outside of a hospital of survival.
Wow.
So, point being, and I'm hoping I can compliment this Raymond a little bit on this. Whenever you're faced with a health threatening situation, and I don't know if I would call mine a health threatening. I had a mild heart attack, but it could lead to something more serious. Obviously, with the Widowmaker, I didn't know the thing was hereditary. I thought just ugliness in my family was hereditary. But just like Raymond embraced what he had and became a warrior, you just heard me say that, and I've said it many times, I'm grateful for what I went through. Because the end result, if it hadn't come on as a minor heart attack, it put me in the hospital. If I'd have had a major one, they could have taken me out. Because that's the one where you hear a person, they're in great health, they're not on any kind of medication, walking down the street one day and bang, they're gone. They drop dead. That's usually compliments of the Widowmaker. And ladies and gentlemen, men do not have a patent on that Widowmaker. Ladies can get it too. And the sad thing of it is there is no test that you can do as far as a blood test and all that to detect the Widowmaker. The whole time I was in hospital, the only time they found it is when they took me in, they told me I was just going to need stents. And that's when the cardiologist, Dr. Gray, there at the Baylor Scott and White Hospital there in College Station, Texas, he says, this won't work for you. He says, you need open heart surgery. You need bypasses. You need the cabbage procedure done. You need it today. He said, we can't turn you loose. It's too dangerous. So funny thing was, you guys might get a kick out of this. And I don't want to eat up your time on the 1 in 9 kidney. But people asked me how I felt. And I said, I was kind of frustrated because I now was in an outpatient mode. I said, let's go home. And so I said to myself, Lord, it's in your hands. If the surgery goes well, I go home. If it doesn't, I still go home. And immediately, a very calm and a very peaceful situation came over me. And I knew nothing could touch me or hurt me or harm me. I knew everything was forgiven. I understood everything completely. It's like going into a dark room. You turn on a light, the light fills the room instantly. I understood everything instantly. I knew the surgery would go well. I knew the recovery would go well. And so I just, how much more blessed can I be?
Absolutely. That was a blessing to have that minor heart attack because God certainly is not through with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because usually when I goof something up, I do it big time. But you guys, your journey, oh my goodness gracious. Like I said, when I first heard Analyn talk or speak there at the event, I went around the room over to Don. I said, hey, Don, we got to get her on a radio show because we didn't have a TV show then. And we got on a radio show. And from there, we got into Facebook Live and Zoom back when 2020 happened. Everybody was locked down.
We weren't letting COVID stop us, were we?
No, we didn't do that. I mean, we had a list, and you were on that show once or twice that I think of. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I believe so.
And she was so eager to come back and put up with me again. I mean, the lady's remarkable. But I want you to share just whatever comes to you, because I'm a firm believer that the energy that comes to us with ideas will come to us and give us things to say, because there's some folks out there in TV land would need to hear exactly what you got to say. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to turn it over to these fine people here.
Well, Jim, I'm glad that you brought up, your story, your experience with having the heart attack, because I think that as that was a wake-up call for you, that unfortunately can be a wake-up call for a lot of people, even with kidney disease.
Yes.
A lot of people, because, heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, even high blood pressure are all known as like silent killers. And what we weren't aware of, again, that diabetes, high blood pressure, the two leading causes, like by far, of kidney disease. Those aren't the only causes. They're not the only reasons, but 2/3 of the people or more with kidney disease and or kidney failure is because of one or both of those. And, we met a doctor, and let me even just kind of share this because I think this is important and opens up, another a little bit more information for your audience of taking our passion and channeling it into a vehicle that will allow
Mhm.
us to touch more lives around the world.
Mm.
So we started 1 in 9 Charities Inc., our nonprofit
Mhm.
organization, which is on a mission to change the trajectory of kidney disease and save millions of lives around the world. That really came about and was inspired back in 2015. So 17 years into our journey was the first time that we were introduced at that time to the National Kidney Foundation. First introduction to any kidney foundation or support group of any type. And that's when we started hearing statistics.
Mm.
And they were blowing me away. Here we were, Raymond and I we were actually, he was invited to the National Kidney Foundation of Arizona, their Dancing with the Stars gala. Black there, beautiful event. We're sitting there together, and I was kind of teasing him, and I was looking across, and I said, pointing at one of the dancers, and I was like, that could be you next year. And then I stopped and looked at him, and he's like, crap, I know that look. And she was the dancer the following year on February 20th, 2016, which was 18 years to the exact day that his kidneys failed.
Mm.
So what I want to point out, though, is here we are in 2015, and it's this beautiful gala, but I'm hearing these statistics. 26 million Americans, 1 in 9 adults have kidney disease, yet 90% don't know it.
Mm.
Diabetes and high blood pressure are 2 leading causes. I look at Raymond, we didn't know that. It was, again,
Oh, yeah.
high blood pressure that took his kidneys. And I'm sitting here, I'm frustrated, I'm alarmed, I'm like, this is unacceptable. And I'm looking around and like, is not anyone else hearing these numbers? Because
Yeah.
this is, there's something wrong with this.
Yeah.
We need to do something about it. And
Yeah.
through that, we started again, that's what helped us birth 1 in 9. But I want to share this with your audience.
Okay.
We were volunteering and doing some things with the National Kidney Foundation, and they had a health screening. And we were there, and we had the opportunity to speak with one of the nephrologists. And he was sharing there's 5 stages of kidney disease. That's our first time even hearing that there's 5 stages of kidney disease.
That's in 17 years.
Yes, in 17 years.
Wow.
Because he literally, Raymond, crashed into dialysis, not knowing that he had kidney disease. And so the doctor, this isn't going to be very scientific, but I think I'm going to drive this point home just like he did for me, because this was a huge, eye opener and epiphany for me. He said, okay, there's 5 stages of kidney disease: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. What do you think is happening to the people between stages 3 and 5? They're dying. If they make it to dialysis, they're a survivor. And I just was blown away, and I kept thinking, oh my gosh, Raymond is even more of a survivor than I thought. And knowing the things that we know now, I look at things with a different lens, and I hear things a little bit differently. So when I hear friends that talk about their friends or family members who are in their 40s that had a heart attack and then their kidneys failed, it doesn't surprise me. So a lot of people may be having a heart attack or a stroke before their kidneys fail, and they didn't even know that they had kidney disease.
Wow. It's really humbling and amazing, because in my story, I had pain in my from elbows down, had pain in between my shoulders like a straight arrow, and had pressure on my chest, but I got very restless, I had Evelyn check my blood pressure, and I said, that thing's goofy, because this is always good. She checked it, said it's fine. So I laid there for a while and checked it again, and it was higher. I'm going like, this is nuts. I'm going to go get it checked out. And so I get up and brush my teeth. It's in the wintertime. I still have my sweats on, go put my shoes on. She says, well, you're not driving. I said, well, okay, I wasn't going to complain if you wanted to drive me. And when I got to the hospital, my point being is that when you experiencing anything don't be afraid to call out for medical help.
Mm.
Because my blood pressure was like 180 something over, I forget what it was, but it was high. But when I got to the ER about 10 minutes later, because I only live about 4 miles from there, my blood pressure, when I walked in, they checked it and they said, it's 190 over 111. And I said, that's not good. And the nurse says, you don't realize how close you are to having a heart attack or stroke.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately they gave me the 4 aspirins because they check the blood, because when you're in a heart attack, there's a certain protein that the heart will release trying to chisel through that blockage like a miner. And that protein's what they search for. And they see that, they know, hey, we got a problem here. So they gave me the 4 aspirins, drink this, put the nitro underneath your tongue. And my point being, the whole time in the hospital, that Saturday and that Sunday, before I went and have the stents on Monday, not one time with all the 67 tests that they ran did the widowmaker raise its ugly head out of the snake, out of the grass. They kept telling me, "Oh, you're going to need stents." It was after they put the dye in there, and I was in there to have the stents, and that's when they found out, hey, in the LAD portion, the main pump, you got that widowmaker is 90% blocked. We got a problem, and you got to take care of it. So, and I just want to finish with one final little thing there. Coming out of that realm that I was in, and I never felt such agape type of love in my life. And then when the cardiologist says, it says the grafting, they'll go right inside your leg here, behind your up before your knee there, and they'll take out some of your veins and they'll bypass it. And I says, hey, that's great. And he looked at me like, did they shut the oxygen off to your head or what? And I said, no. I said, what I mean, I don't have to take any rejection drugs, because they kept telling me with the metal, with the little steel wire mesh they're going to put in, I'll take rejection drug for 2 years. So if they're going to be using my veins, I don't worry about that. I could only say that coming from a safe place. Mm-hmm. But in Raymond's case, you don't know. And when people don't know what they don't know, they pay the price. I mean, it just yanks a carpet up under your feet. Mm-hmm. And
yes,
you didn't know there was 5 stages of kidney failure.
Not
My goodness. I got to salute him twice. First, for being a warrior.
Amen.
And number 2, I saw him doing the dance with this pretty girl, and he was
See, I find it embarrassing, though.
You were to see me dance. That's what you'd find embarrassing. But, I've got your 1in9kidneychallenge.com. That's your website there. I went to it, copied it, and pasted it there on the marquee. And I'm at your website right now, and it just says here that, shocked by the statistic that 26 million Americans, 1 in 9 adults, have kidney disease, and 90% doesn't even know it. My goodness gracious. Mm-hmm. In your journey, if someone would come up to you and say, 1 in 9 people have kidney, how would I know whether or not I've, starting to get kidney disease or I have kidney disease? What would you say to them?
I would say, again, it's very silent. So knowing their risk factors, and just get a baseline on their kidney function, especially if they do have risk factors. So obviously we touched on diabetes, high blood pressure. There's different autoimmune disorders, especially lupus. Obesity can be another risk factor. African Americans are, Raymond is like 4 times more likely to have kidney failure than you or I. It's higher in the Native American population, Hispanic population as well. And, again, because there aren't that many symptoms, the early detection is key. You can easily do, just in your comprehensive metabolic panel, when most doctors are familiar with that, when you're getting, your yearly labs and looking at your cholesterol, looking at your A1C or your blood sugars and all of these things. They look at your GFR, which is the glomerular filtration rate. And that's a gauge. And what we really drive home to people is to be your own biggest advocate. Know
Yes.
those numbers. That way
Mhm.
you can watch to see if they're fluctuating at all. Don't count
Mhm.
on your doctors to point things out to you.
Mm-mm.
And this is not a knock on the VA in any way,
Right.
but
Mhm.
Raymond was, we were probably, yeah, about 17, 18 years into it. And he went to his primary care physician at the VA, new
Mhm.
doctor,
Mhm.
new doctor to him. And she's looking
Mhm.
back through his records, just amazed at everything that he's been through,
Mhm.
open heart surgery and, obviously kidney transplant and all the
Mm.
dialysis modalities, all of these different things over these past, these
Mm.
years. And she looked back when he was in the military and said, "Mr. Scott, did they tell you when you were in service that your kidneys were in decline? You had kidney disease?" No one mentioned that. And I can tell you, Jim,
Mm.
it's across all, health systems. It's not just the VA. We're seeing that
Yeah.
almost on a daily basis where most people are
Mhm.
not finding out until maybe stage 4 or 5 when they're talking dialysis, maybe stage 3.
Mhm.
Rarely are people finding out at stage 1 or 2. So that's
Mm.
why we drive home, get a baseline, know
Mm.
your numbers. And we do have some
Mm.
references there on our website too. One of our
Yeah.
big themes is, do you know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
we have a page there that talks more about, what you should look for, what numbers you
Oh,
should be looking
yeah.
at. There's a chart there that there's actually a handout people can print
Mhm.
out, take with them to their doctors so that they
Mm.
can walk in a little bit more informed.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the medical staff, as much as they can do and the wonderful inventions we have, and I just now found out that Raymond is like me. He's got a zipper, had open heart surgery, and
Yes, I do.
yeah, I bet my zipper is bigger than your zipper. That's a guy thing. It's just a joke, but it's like going in if you have a blood test. If the people who are examining the blood and run the test and all, if they're not looking specifically for something in your blood, many times it just goes under the radar because they're not looking for it. And we normally think if they're doing a blood test, they'll see everything, right? Not true. Not true. Because when I was in there and they're looking for that, it starts with a T, troponin or something like that's the name of it, the protein they're looking for. When they see that, that's when they know, hey, we got a problem here. And going through open heart surgery like you did, and kidney replacement, and you know, at any time, did you ever? I know you better than this, and I'm not going to ask that question, but did you ever get aggravated or a little bit upset or just kind of like, ah, doggone it, now what?
Oh, yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the thing about kidney disease is that sometimes gets overlooked is the mental faculties of the patient.
Mm.
Um, I can tell you, I had a conversation with God, and I said, why me? Why is this my cross to bear?
Yeah.
Why me?
Yeah.
And the answer I got back was, why not you? I'm going to give
Mm.
you a wife that's a bulldog. I'm going to
Mm.
give you a family and a church family
Yeah.
that's going to pray with you and
Mhm.
stay with you at each step of the go.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
going to give you kids that you're going to be motivated to live for too, which
Mm.
I am. And they
Mhm.
push me without even knowing it.
Yeah.
So don't ever ask me why me. And I have not asked them why me again since.
Yeah. One of the things that I learned when I said, I understood everything completely, there was an entity there. I didn't see anything. It was just as clear as a bell, because I was in a realm. I wasn't in the physical thing.
Right.
And the entity there, it was just kind of like, just I knew that the entity was wanting to rush to me. And this is
Mm,
a wake up call for all of us. And this goes right into what Raymond was saying. It let me know that I was not letting it in.
mm,
That was an eye-opening experience for me because all the way here I'm laying in the hospital. Thank you, Lord. I got the church praying for me, got my family praying for me, got this, got that, I got this, I got this great hospital here, the great doctors. Oh, I was basically saying without knowing it, I got this.
mm.
And I self-justified it, calling it faith. And then I understood the reasoning that I was using in my mind was the same reasoning that poor Eve used in the Garden of Eden when she looked at the apple. That looks pretty good. Or that forbidden fruit is so, it'll make me so wise and all that. Her reasoning in her mind, we know how that turned out. So
Right.
what does that say about us when we reason in our mind?
Mm.
And based on what I experienced there, that realm of love, and the best way I can describe it to you folks, we understand the oxygen around us in the physical world. We feel it, we inhale it, and all that. In that realm, replace that with agape love.
Mm.
I mean, don't fear death. I'm probably going to laugh and say adioso when I leave here, on this earth, because it just really opened my eyes, and I'm very, very blessed for that. And I think, like Raymond, what we go through and why we're here is to share our story with others.
Right.
And I'm going to do something right now I very seldom do. In fact, I never do. But I'm going to do it. And I want to put on a special with these folks on our Live Central with E360 TV. I'll get with Aaron on this. We'll do it prime time on Saturday night. And we can bring in, whoever they want to about 1 in 9 kidney. And let's just put this thing on. Let's we're just going to have a good time for people to come and dine, feed their mind, and just provide good positive input. And I know Analyn and Raymond well enough; they won't mind me because we hadn't even discussed this.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's one of the disadvantages of coming on a live show with me. Like I tell people, one guy says, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to say." I said, "Well, don't feel bad. Neither do I. We're just going to wing it." But the most important thing is that we've got to get awareness out there about the kidney disease. I lost a brother-in-law to kidney disease, and he was on dialysis for many years. And 1 in 9, I had no idea that the number or the ratio was that high. I thought it was, you hear it occasionally.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's even worse now, Jim. So I went back because again, I keep wanting to kind of drive home that fact. And Raymond shared something recently at one of our film screenings that we had that he's like, trust me, you want to be disciplined now. You don't want to be forced into being disciplined. You don't want to walk in my shoes. And so we want to impart as much of what we've learned to help others avoid this type of a journey, to get this information and this awareness out to people.
Yeah.
I was looking back and I was trying to find some statistics from 1998 when his kidneys failed. Couldn't find those, but I found some from 2002. And it was about 8.3 million Americans with kidney disease. Fast forward to 2015 and 26 million Americans. That's when our alarm bell was rung.
Right.
Wow.
And now, Jim, in just these short 7 years, it's now 37 million Americans. They're projecting that by 2030, 80 million Americans will have kidney disease. That's more than double.
Oh my gosh.
That's alarming. So it is a global epidemic. I'm looking at the numbers globally. 850 million people worldwide that have kidney disease. That's more than double the number of people with diabetes worldwide. More than 20 times the number of people with cancer or HIV and AIDS. And if you look at it, kidney disease kills more people each year than breast cancer or prostate cancer, but it's not talked about. So we're on board with whatever you're saying that, we can come together and do something special to reach more people. To reach those, what do you figure, Jim? What if you're looking at 37 million Americans now? It's so over 30 million Americans walking around that don't even know they're dead.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, that just, you know, and that's what I tell people on the show. You always follow the energy. Bill Heinrich's a good friend of ours. We know Bill very well. And our show is also brought to you by The Seven Levels of Truth. That's Mr. Bill's book there. Go on Amazon. And I want to read a quote on the back. It says it all. It says, and I'm quoting, Bill Heinrich is a master at showing you how to eliminate the negative distractions that rob you of your energy in your life. If you want to live your life, have total clarity, and find true happiness in life, I highly recommend this book. And that's a quote by some guy by the name of Jim Grant, TV producer, host, message inspiration, D362.
Someone
But
you're familiar with.
yes, but the thing is that whenever you're doing something, you're doing the right thing for the right reason, the energy will come to you, thoughts will come to your mind. And they're not there just to rattle your bird cage. They're there for you to say, hey, you need to step it up. So that's why I said what I said there. And we had not even discussed this, because with people suffering like that, you know, it's the only thing to do. It's not just the right thing to do. It's the only thing to do. And I'll be getting with Aaron Hymas on that. We'll be getting a show on that coming out, because we want to be able to raise awareness and be able to get many other guests in there, whoever you guys want. We'll just set up the studio, the platform, and it's basically going to be like a buffet. Just come and dine, because that's what it's about. You know, me being here, I'm just here to, to collect dust. So yeah, I collect it pretty good. It's all,
No,
But
we
when
would be honored. We would be honored. We
Definitely.
appreciate it. So yeah, my wheels are already turning. So we'll
Oh
definitely.
yeah, because I'm here at your website here, and the thing that I like about it, there's a picture of your son and daughter with you guys, and my goodness gracious, what a handsome family, what a happy looking family. And it's really touching what you said there, Raymond, about how you've been blessed with great kids, a great wife, and you're blessed with the things that money cannot buy.
Right.
And that's what makes life so valuable, so precious. I tease people sometimes I hear on the show, I tell them, I grew up on a farm in North Carolina, which is true. And says, we didn't know we were poor till we went to town, which is true. But what we were rich in were the things that, no thief could steal from us.
Things that mattered.
Yes. Things
Yeah.
that will never go away. They will never rust, because love is something that it is the core of life. And not only do we experience in this life, we will experience in the eternal life forever and ever. And it's just so precious, money can't buy it. That's my point. And when we have love for one another, and we're all brothers and sisters by different mothers, let's face it. And that's the way we should look at each other. And like one of the pets, I said, I tell people, can you imagine what a wonderful world this world would be if everyone had the heart of a dog, the unconditional love of the family dog? I mean, my goodness gracious. It just blows me away, because sometimes we get puffed up with pride and we think just like me in the hospital, hey, I got this. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you for this. Thank you. Well, I sound like it was almost embarrassing laying there for whatever that entity was. I don't know if it was an angel, spirit, or whatever, but it let me know it's been wanting to eagerly rush to me in my hour of need. But I got this piece of cake, right? I tell you, I'm glad they didn't give me an IQ test. Then I would have really been in trouble.
Well, I'm glad you let that in, and so that you could feel that love.
Oh, yeah.
It's real, and
yeah.
I know. And when Raymond, so I'll share two things with you that kind of along those lines you'll get a kick out of.
Oh yeah.
So Raymond doesn't do things small. So he's 29, had kidney failure. Age 39, he went in and had the open heart surgery, had aortic arch replaced, because he had a aortic aneurysm. So same thing. If that burst, that's game over. But he was also sent to the hospital with of all things, a pulmonary embolism that saved his life. Gave him the symptoms for them to detect that he had a tear in his heart, widen that tear to give him the symptoms to come in.
Wow.
And so he had his whole aortic arch replaced. mechanical valve replaced, all of these things. And when they were taking him in for the surgery, before he went in, I looked at him and I said, if you see any bright lights, go the other way. Do not follow the bright lights.
Mhm.
And obviously and thankfully he came back to us.
Yeah.
But there was another situation a couple of years ago when Raymond was actually on Memorial Day in 2016.
Mm.
And he was at the VA hospital with what we thought was pneumonia. It turned out to be severe sepsis and respiratory failure, and they had to intubate him.
Wow.
And it was pretty, but I would say it would be scary, but it really, I knew how serious it was, but I just had, God gave me a peace and a calm.
Yeah.
And also we had the I can't remember what's the proper name for it, janitor, but he was coming into the room and he was helping to make sure that ICU and all the rooms in the ICU were sterile, were clean. And he walked in and saw Raymond, and he just smiled. He looked at him and he said, he's going to be just fine. I can't say that about everybody else in here. And actually the next day, the person next in the room next to us passed away. And he said, but he's going to be fine. And he came the next day and said, I've been praying for him.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, and his name was, I'll share his name. His name was Lucky. I said, I think it's more than lucky, but he was our angel. He was our angel.
Yeah.
That was there. And, I just kept getting different signs all along that everything was going to be okay. Because just like God wasn't done with you, clearly was not done with this one here in
as I call him, he was
touch.
Yeah, he was using Lucky to, he just gave Lucky that feeling and those words to say. And, that's the way it works. Because normally we wanted things, like in a grandiose way, the ticker tape parade and all that stuff, because we're just, in the physical world, we're mentally challenged. Let's be honest.
Right.
But on the higher scale, there is no limit. And everything is just done in a very sweet and loving way, because that's the best way. You think about the precious memories of, your grandparents and your aunts and people the simple things in life that you really treasure. Oh my goodness gracious.
Right.
And that's a clear example of how that man came into your life, and he just knew he should just be the voice box, be the messenger of good news. And take encouragement from that, ladies and gentlemen, because you could be placed in times out there and you could say a little something like that. It could really be a blessing to someone. And make no mistake about it, that's your calling in life. Embrace it. Don't run from it.
Yeah.
And don't worry about what someone thinks about you. That's irrelevant, because the people who you're placed in front of, they will treasure that. And I know that was very comforting for you, Analyn.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I got to share one more funny story, because I didn't know where my cell phone was or anything. Evelyn's supposed to pick me up as outpatient, and she's looking for me, can't find me in the hospital. And I'm in ICU getting ready for open heart surgery. And she comes walking in, and I could see a troubled look on her face. And I looked at her and I says, what's wrong? What's wrong? I couldn't find you. They had never heard of you at outpatient. And then she finds I got to have open heart surgery and all that, so, but you can only come from a place like that when you come from a place of love and security, and you owe it to yourself to find that. And for folks out there suffering from kidney disease, or people who are out there wondering about, hey, this thing is starting to catch on like wildfire, please go to the website there, 1in9, the number 1, IN9, kidneychallenge.com, as you see there on the marquee. And be sure and check out Analyn and Raymond's website there. You'll see a photograph of their family. And we're going to be, we'll be making some announcements when we're going to come back with the kidney. I'll let you guys come up with the name or what we're going to do, because this is something that really needs to get out there. And like I tell everybody, the TV, the radio show, we've got millions of downloads on and all that. They're just vehicles.
Yeah, and you gotta get the word out where you can. So even Jim,
Oh,
feel
yeah.
free to share with your viewers. We have a
Mhm.
link that if they'd
Yeah.
like to register, they can watch our documentary Advance with Destiny
Oh,
for
yeah.
free. That's something they can share. We've gotten so much feedback from people that
Mm.
it's been eye-opening. Some
Yeah.
people went and got tested and found out that they were at different levels of kidney disease. So we're even working with different
Wow.
community organizations and
Mhm.
churches. There's even been some churches that have, we're doing different places like a Wellness Wednesday, have even
Mhm.
done some special Sunday services to either show the entire film or show
Mhm.
the trailer of it and allow
Mhm.
people to watch it on their own convenience virtually.
And
Mhm.
event at the park.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so,
And
yeah,
an
so we-
event at the park where people
Yeah.
were tested, to see where they were. And they
Mhm.
actually spoke to a doctor and
Mhm.
were able to make plans about how they were going to do life differently now that they know. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what it's about, knowing.
Yeah, it really is. And ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We want to thank Analyn and Raymond for being our guests today. And most importantly, be sure and love yourself first. You deserve that. And that way you can love others because you can only give what you possess. And if you're like me, please learn how to forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will keep you posted on future show we're going to do here, the special show about the kidney disease. And stay tuned and be sure and share this show with others. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Analyn. Thank you, Ray.
Jim.
Thank you.